I was a freelance TV news photographer in the greater Boston area for 26 years. My mother always told me, son, if you can find a way to make money by getting into trouble, you'll do very well. And she was right. News photographer fit me perfectly. There are many stories that stand out in my mind that I covered during those 26 years. This is one of them. It happened 6/26/1987 at 1:30 in the morning. First radio reports that I got, I believe, came over the police radio, and they were talking about a plane making strange sputtering noises over Dorchester. At the time that this call came in, I was camped out at the intersection of Dudley Street and Langdon Street at the Dorchester-Roxbury line. Shortly after the police call came in, fire radio lit up, and there was talk of a building fire caused by a plane crash on Lonsdale Street in Dorchester. I immediately popped my car into gear and headed for Lonsdale Street. My most likely route to the fire would have been Dudley Street to Stoughton Street to Pleasant Street to Hancock Street, and then on to Dorchester Ave, and following Dorchester Ave up to Lonsdale Street. I would guess it probably took me between 3 and 5 minutes to reach Lonsdale Street. Once I was there, I parked my car quickly on Dorchester Street, put on my gear, and headed down Lonsdale Street. I could see one house fully involved, a second house catching fire, a third house catching fire, and multiple cars strewn about the streets, all on fire. As I approached the fire buildings, Boston Fire had already set up I guess it was a 2.5-inch line, and were shooting water across the street onto the main house. This kind of blocked my way, so what I had to do was kind of crouch down low and go under the hose, which kind of got me a little bit wet, but it felt pretty good because the heat from the fire was so intense that it was practically burning me. Anyhow, at this point, I'm rolling, and my camera is rolling. I'm running video, and I see the houses on fire. I see multiple cars on fire in the street, scattered about the street, and I'm thinking to myself, what are these cars doing, scattered about the street on fire? To this day, I can't figure out what happened there. I kind of speculated to myself at that point that possibly some of them were occupied. And, anyhow, my next question for myself as I'm shooting the video is, so it's an airplane crash into a house. Where's the airplane? There's no sign of the airplane. I can't see the airplane anyplace. Where the hell is the airplane? Well, anyhow, now I have an answer to that. And the answer to that question was that the plane penetrated into the main fire building, and was completely incinerated almost immediately. It must have had a lot of gas on board, because the house was completely involved in flame. I didn't find that out until long after the fire was out. The only thing they found remaining of the plane was the engine inside the house. I fully expected that they were going to be pulling bodies out of the cars that were strewn about the street, but that never happened. There was nobody in the cars, and like I say, to this day I have no idea how these cars got scattered about the street. I could understand if they were all parked along the side in a row, but they weren't. They were strewn all over the street. I have no idea why. After I had run about 6 or 7 minutes of video, I jumped onto my cell phone to try and find out where the crashed plane was. And I called one of my customers, a TV station, and they said they thought that it had bounced off the roof of the house and made it into Dorchester Bay, which turned out to be completely false. The plane actually penetrated the house and incinerated itself instantly. It was a twin-engine plane carrying canceled checks from Bedford, Mass. The only fatality from the fire was the pilot of the plane. Everybody got out of the houses okay, and it was quite a save for Boston Fire. It was fortunate that it was a summer evening and there was no wind and the weather was not a factor in the fire. Another unusual thing about this fire, in my opinion, was the speed at which the house, the main fire building, was incinerated. Like I said, the plane was probably carrying a lot of gas, and when it crashed, the gas splashed all over the house and the house was just completely incinerated. I would say 45 minutes after the incident began, most of the fire was knocked down for two reasons. One, because Boston Fire did their usual great job, and secondly, because there was so much accelerant put onto the house that the house went up in a flash. It was burnt to the ground in no time at all. Well, anyhow, if you'd like to take a look at this fire, I've put a link underneath this video. If you click on it, it'll take you right to it, and you can see the fire that I'm talking about. If you like these stories, I'd appreciate it if you click on that little old like button. That would help me out a little. And secondly, you might want to subscribe, because I'll be putting up stories like this on a regular basis, and that way you'll be notified when a new story has been put up. So anyhow, keep the rubber side down, stay safe out there. Remember, there's danger everywhere. And also, remember, I'll be back.